welcome to this Phi Beta Mu Legacy Project interview. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Phi Beta Mu Hall of Fame member Orland Thomas. Orland, it is so good to see you, to reconnect with you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Oh, and we kind of grew up in the same neck of the woods. I grew up in Tuscaloosa County, graduated from Tuscaloosa County High School, and also in the same county was Holt, where
Yes,
am I correct that you graduated from Holt? Was that?
that's correct. Yes.
And then you
Dad
came
was
back.
Dad was a Methodist preacher, moved a lot, and we lived at Holt when I went to high school there. My last 3 years.
Fantastic. And then you later came back as band director.
Correct.
And as a high school student, I remember going to the public library, and there was this one album of the Holt High School Band, 1964, Superior Rating, playing Fanfare and Allegro. And I must have checked that record out half a dozen times as a high school student. So let's back up to the early days. How did you get into music to start with?
Well, that's an intriguing question, and I have an answer that I think is phenomenal. My mother and dad met at SMU in Texas, and she was a member of about 10 members of their family. She was one of the 3 girls, and she met dad met her at SMU, and initially said, well, she said, I'm going to be a missionary. I can't get married. He had just said, I'm about to go be a preacher and I need to have a wife. So a mutual friend advised them to let mother be a missionary to Alabama. And apparently it took. So dad was he was a Methodist minister, moved several times, averaged out about every 2 years. We moved to another location. And this was the last one in his series. So I was probably the world's worst student, as well as trombone student at Holt High School. My teacher at Holt, it was a part-time band job, 2 hours a day. And my band director was a student at the University of Alabama, former in the military. He and his wife had 4 boys, preschoolers, and he was the lead trumpet player in the NBC orchestra, NBC in New York before he went into the service.
Wow.
Phenomenal trumpet player, really was. And he's trying to get his degree and get a band job lined up. But my last year and the last day of my senior year, a trumpet player in the band and I were talking to him. And in the conversation, he said, well, what are you going to do for a career? And the other guy says, well, I'm going to write. Yeah. I learned later he was a bank president. And I said at that time, I'm going to be a band director. And that's the first time I ever thought that thought or said anything. And I don't know what caused me to say that. And Mr. Kendrick turned around and said, well, Orland, you need to do something else.
Really?
And for some reason, that was a challenge, I guess, to me. And so I went on the University of Alabama, got my degree, and taught. And after I moved later in my career, I was president of the ASBDA and I invited him to come back. He was band directing in Georgia. And we had dinner together one night. And in the middle of the conversation, I said, I really appreciate you saying what you said because you kicked me into gear. And he said, what? And I told him, and he said, no, cuss word. I never tell a student that. So I've always enjoyed remembering that kind of a situation with him. And I only saw him once later.
Right, yeah.
Very short period, yes. So and part of the story is, because I was telling you about mother and dad, mother had an older sister in Texas, and the sister had a son, two sons, and two daughters. One of the daughters, Maxine, played trombone in the high school band and in the college band. And that one visit, she said, "Orland, I've got a new trombone. Do you want my old one?" So I had no idea what a trombone was or what I could do with it. On the way home from Texas back to Alabama, as I remember, we had all four windows of the car rolled down, and I was trying to put that trombone together and make sounds with it. My older brother didn't appreciate that at all. So we got back to Berry, where we lived at that time, Berry, Alabama. And mother and dad were gone. My younger brother was gone somewhere. So my older brother and I were at the house alone, and it was raining, lightning, thunder. And I was honking on the horn. I'd never had a lesson. That was before I even got started in band at all.
Okay.
Just making big, ugly noises with it. And he didn't like it. He told me to stop. I didn't want to stop. So he grabbed the two slides and slapped them together, And we know that
That's
won't
not
work.
good.
So I stormed out, fussing at him, and ran out across the highway and onto the railroad tracks there at Berry. And it was lightning and thundering, and he's screaming at me, "You're going to get killed. Lightning's going to get you. Come on back. Come on back." "Not till you promise." And he said, and it went on and on for quite a while. And finally he said, "Okay, okay." And then we made up, and I didn't find out for 20 years that he didn't pay for it. Mom and dad had to drive about 50 miles down to Aniana, Alabama to get my trombone fixed. And of course, the story goes on. Every time we moved, I had a new band program to get into.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Hamilton. Had a lady there that was a piano teacher trying to be the band director. I had about 12 or 15 kids in the group. And every time we moved, it was a new adjustment. So I never had a trombone lesson until I got to college.
Wow.
So that's a funny start. I think it's funny start to my life.
Absolutely. So University of Alabama. And
Right.
So being a trombonist, I guess Yale Ellis was your teacher.
Yale got there the next year after I graduated.
Okay.
But he did come out and help me with the band rehearsals. He and Colonel Butler.
Amazing. Oh, wow.
I'm lucky there.
That was some good help. That was some good help. Well, so now, was Holt the first job out of college?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was when I took it. It was a two class periods a day, just like my predecessor. I just taught two periods.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And the next year, they said, "We can't hire you full time, but will you teach elementary band or music?" So I went to the two elementary schools that fed into Holt High School and worked with the classroom teachers, and we did some band work. I'll always remember the little Becky in the third grade who got up in the middle of the room and sang while the teacher played the record. Becky became my first string children player later.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had several outstanding students that started in the fifth grade in that way.
Right. Yeah. So I guess that relationship with the elementary teachers, just being able to be in that environment and get to know the kids and get to know the teachers, and they get to know you. And then next thing you know, where can I sign up for band?
They're hooked. Yeah. Yeah, we had my better players though were those that started at the fifth grade. And as we grew, they grew.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can attest to that. That Holt High School band was a very fine band. That fanfare and allegro alone. I mean, they played. Yeah. So now, how long did you stay at Holt?
I was there 9 years.
9. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And our program grew. The last concert I performed there with them was we had a little middle school band by that time, about 20, I think. And then the high school band was, I think it was about 65 or 70 kids.
Wow. Good size.
Yeah. And I found out the other day, I was tearing through some memorabilia, and I got the concert program for that last program. And I also had a list of 60 names on the back cover, the Holt High School choir. I don't remember that. But
Wow. But
I
you
developed
were
a
also
choir
the
as
choir
well.
director.
I was the choir director too. I do not remember that.
Yeah, and a lot of folks just assume, well, these guys who were successful band's the only thing they did. And here you
Sure.
were the band director, you were the choir director, you were doing elementary music. Basically,
Mhm.
if it was music, it was you. That was how things were looked at back then, and you had to be prepared to do that.
Good, bad, or indifferent. That was the job. Yes.
Yeah. So 9 years at Holt, and then Mobile.
Yeah, that was
Tell us.
curious. You remember Lacey Powell?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
What a yes. Anybody who does not know that name is missing out. Yeah.
Well, he was the one that called me, said, "We've got a new high school in Mobile. Would you be interested?" It didn't take long to say, yes. Um, yeah, he was band director at Andalusia High School, and my wife was a graduate of Andalusia High School.
I
And
didn't know that. Yeah.
I did not, that's the only reason I can figure he
Uh-huh.
called me.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Wow.
it was a brand new school in a new section of Mobile. It was phenomenal setup. Brand new school, brand new parents, brand new faculty in a part of Mobile that was growing rapidly at that time.
Mm-hmm. And so that was Davidson was
Davidson High School, yes.
okay. Wow. And pretty successful from the get-go.
Yes.
Or did mhm.
Yeah, we had some good kids in the program. Some transferred from some of the other schools that was they had to change because they were changing locations at Mobile.
Right. Opened a new school and rezoning
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that sort of
right.
thing. Yeah. Yeah. So
We had a phenomenal result there because of the parent support, I think, as much as anything.
absolutely. Yeah. And so how many years at Davidson?
Well, that didn't last too long. I keep saying 5 years, but I think it was actually 4 years. And they asked if I wanted to, and Lacey went to the University of South Alabama and left that job open. So they called me and asked if I would be a music supervisor for the system.
Wow.
And that was,
What an opportunity.
oh gosh, seemed like it's about 45 or 50 schools, but it was that we had that many schools, but not that many high schools. But yeah, I
And
had
yeah.
all the high school, middle schools and high schools were my responsibility. And I had 32 schools to visit.
Wow. Wow. And so that stint lasted for quite a while.
Yeah, until I retired about 15 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were basically in the car on the road in schools helping band directors day in and day out.
That's right. That's right. A lot
Amazing.
of frustrations, but there are a lot of satisfactions in that.
Yeah. And then now when you retired, you really didn't retire. Yeah, I mean,
What are
tell
you
us
talking
the
about?
other things that were, you know, because you have been active in so many things. I mean, you continue to play trombone,
Sure.
some symphony work. Was it?
Yeah, we had the main symphony died and a new one came up, and I was able to get a couple of 3 years with that group before things changed again. But yeah, I enjoyed that, and I conducted the youth orchestra for several years. Um, we had a violinist in town when I got there, Harry Thompson,
Okay.
who played first. Well, he was conductor. He played first violin. He taught in the schools. I think he taught in 4 or 5 different schools, and we had some pretty good string kids coming out of that. So I don't know why they decided might be a candidate to be the supervisor, and as a supervisor to be the conductor for that youth orchestra. But it was a small group, but we enjoyed making music.
That is fantastic.
I can't remember how many years it was. It was 8 or 10 years, it seemed like.
Huh? Yeah, that is amazing.
My clue here is I was there 15 years.
That is great. You know, for the young folks that are looking that are seeing this interview, some who are probably hearing your voice, well, many who are hearing your voice for the first time. What advice would you give some of the new folks coming in? What were some of the things that really helped you be successful? Because you were very successful in your chosen field.
It's kind of hard to put a finger on it. I enjoyed music, period. And I hope that sensation was spread among the people that I worked with, the kids and all. I think being interested personally in each kid was maybe a clue. I'm not aware of that it happened that way, but here I am now at this age, and I go out to have a bite somewhere in Mobile, and here comes a former student. Oh, Mr. Thomas, blah, blah, blah. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
But,
oh, yeah.
I was involved we taught trombone at the University of South Alabama when it was a brand new operation. Taught at Mobile College briefly. And,
Okay.
I guess I just hit a lot of high spots in this little town down here.
Well, yeah,
a lot of people.
I mean, you certainly, you certainly left your mark on the Tuscaloosa area, and then
Wow.
again, Mobile, and such a difference that you made there, and then obviously, your colleagues thought so much of you, not only to invite you into membership in Phi Beta Mu, but then for you to be named to the Hall of Fame, which is, very, very select. So, anything else that comes to mind that you'd like to share with us while you have this audience?
Let's see. That may be about it. Just that I thoroughly feel blessed totally by my career as it developed and the support I got from every source possible. And in an up-to-date thought, this is off the wall, I'm sorry. The opera people come to me and said, can we borrow your pickup truck for those performers that don't have a ride while they're in Mobile? So my truck is in their hands right now. Yeah, I love music. I love, we have the opera, we have the symphony. We've just got lots of good entertainment in the classical field. And I don't miss any of it. I really enjoy it.
That is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Nancy's reminding me that I'm still playing in the Mobile Pops band.
So you still play to this very day?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. And music is one of those things you can do it your whole life if you choose to do it. And that's certainly great to hear.
I'm having some doubts about continuing much longer, and my colleagues in the trombone section are probably thinking the same thing.
Oh,
You about had enough of that, Thomas.
That is great. Well, Orland, no, go ahead.
Nancy's giving me a clue. I don't know what she said.
South Alabama scholarship in your name.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Your students, for your past students.
I can't help it, but feel good about helping some young people in their music and development. And so I did establish a scholarship fund for the University of South Alabama.
Amazing.
And, we've seen one student, I don't know whether we're going much further, but the amount of the scholarship is not enough to make a lot of difference. But the girl from Baldwin County played clarinet, and she played absolutely phenomenal. And we had a little dinner get together to celebrate that. And so the University of South Alabama knows my name, right or wrong.
Well, and they know it, and they know it in a very good way. And I was looking at your bio earlier. University of Alabama Music Department, looks like 1983 honored you the first Alumni Achievement Award recipient.
How could that be?
That's what it, Orland, you've done so many great things and had so many awards. It's hard to keep up with them all.
I've been a church choir director for several years. And I have an example of one I'm very fond of. One of my former students at Davidson is a judge in South Mississippi. And he also plays in the Mobile Pops. So he comes by every Monday night and picks me up. And we do a lot of memory work. He's a phenomenal player, and he's a phenomenal person. And there's people that I really enjoy. Absolutely. And one of my baritone sax player from high school also plays in the Pops band. He had his 71st birthday about 3 weeks ago, and I got to go have dinner with him in that situation. So I keep thinking it keeps coming. It's just so much to enjoy and appreciate about the career I've had and the opportunities I've had.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful.
Well, and the state of Alabama and so many young people are grateful for what you have done. So, Orland Thomas, thank you for this time that you have spent with me, and thank you for the career and the many, many years of service to music education in the state of Alabama.